Hi everyone, welcome back to our staircase. It's Frances, and as I mentioned in my last video, I have some vlogs for you to share my experience of SIGGRAPH 2022 here in Vancouver. But before all of that, I wanted to put together an overview video, so this is that video, to give you more context about the conference. In this video, I will be sharing what is SIGGRAPH, overall schedule of the conference, the things that I liked and didn't like, also just a little bit more about myself, what my previous background was, my work experience, so you have an idea of where my perspective is coming from, so I'm seeing it through my eyes. So yeah, let's get started. I actually started out as an animator, so I went to school for it, but in doing that I realized I like animation, but that was not my passion. So I said maybe I'll be a modeler, and then I had to model a car. I was so frustrated because the thing about modeling cars is that you just have one vertex off, and you will see that mistake across the entire surface. You will see a crease all over it, and that enraged me because it was so frustrating to get it everything so perfect. That was one of the things that made me realize this also isn't what I'm passionate about. At the end of the school year, a couple of us had to put together an animated short for a couple who was getting married. My role during that project was a concept artist for some of the environments. I was also modeling and texturing some of those environments, but also someone had to organize everyone, and I love doing that. So I told that to my friend who was already in the industry, and she said, oh, you know, you could be a really good fit as a production coordinator. She helped set up an interview, and I didn't get the job. So big sad, but that's okay. I still know that this was the industry that I wanted to be in. So for a couple of years after that, I actually taught Blender to kids. Do not underestimate them. I had a kid who modeled a Jaeger. It was incredible. So after teaching Blender for a couple of years, I finally did get into the studio. It was for an animation studio, and I worked as a production coordinator. I wanted to learn more about VFX, so I switched studios and became a production coordinator for VFX in TV. And then I wanted to learn VFX in film, so I switched studios again. And after doing all of that, I learned that my heart is in animation. So I left that job and went back for animated TV series again, worked my way up, senior production coordinator to a production manager. Throughout my experience, I've pretty much touched all departments of a traditional pipeline. That is until I went to SIGGRAPH. One of the new things I've learned, virtual production. So this is a brand new pipeline to me, and I will talk more about it in my later episodes. Which reminds me, if you want to be notified when those new videos come up, be sure to follow me on my socials over here. So that's a brief history of Frances. I wanted to share that just so you can see where I'm coming from when I'm visiting these booths or these panels. In general, I've always had an interest in film and animation, and I have genuine appreciation to the pipeline, the software that you use, the technology, how advanced it is, like what you can do. Always so fascinated of like how fast things are changing and how cool everything is. Like, how do you make this? How do you make it look like that? Well, hopefully I don't ramble too much. I think I'm rambling now. So that's me. But what about SIGGRAPH? What is SIGGRAPH? So SIGGRAPH is Special Interest Group on Computer Graphics and Interactive Techniques. Don't ask me how that got abbreviated to SIGGRAPH, but in general, from my experience, it's a 4-day conference with different panels, exhibitions, talks, and different companies, studios showcasing their work, their pipeline, their tools. It doesn't necessarily stay in just film and animation. VR was a big one, 3D printing, virtual production, Unreal Engine, Metaverse, haptic technologies was also pretty cool. It's like a big convention of new developments or what's new in the CG computer graphics world. So it's pretty cool, a lot of really smart people. It's pretty incredible because it's one of the rare times where you could find all these big name studios, big name companies all just in one place, and you can talk to them. You can go to their booths, there's a job fair, and yes, it's also just a big networking event. It's 4 days. There are different panels that are going on at the same time, so you kind of have to pick and choose which ones you want to go to. On the last 3 days, there's also different kind of exhibition halls that are going on pretty much the whole day. So that was, I made a list. I take notes, I'm in production. There's labs, exhibition, immersive, pavilion, art gallery, emerging technologies. There are different booths from different companies, and they showcase their work, their research, their tools, just a whole bunch of stuff. In the previous years, Pixar used to have a booth. I was kind of sad that they weren't there this year because they used to have, I'm going to show you, you'd line up to get posters, but also the RenderMan teapots, and they're like this one. Then I've got one from another year here. I don't want to touch it, it's super shiny. I think this one is with Katana, but they're not here this year, so what was kind of sad, I kind of missed those. SIGGRAPH this year is in Vancouver, so this is the first time they held it in person. The previous years were all virtual, and it was held in the Vancouver Convention Center, which is pretty big. To give you an idea, the event was held in about 4 floors of the convention center, and the convention center itself can hold up to 12,000 people. So the conference is hosted in North America and in Asia, not at the same time, but they do it every year, and every 3 or 4 years they come back to Vancouver. It's also hosted by ACM, so that's why you'll see a lot of their logos around the event, and when you purchase a ticket, and that's why they ask you if you would like to be a member. Speaking of tickets, it is pretty pricey, so I would recommend that if you want to go to the event to chat with your employers, maybe they can help sponsor you, or a lot of the people who are there are obviously there for work. Fun fact, my first SIGGRAPH was back when they were still giving away CDs for you to try new software, so that was quite a bit ago. I don't go every year. Like I said, the ticket's pretty pricey, but if you ever get a chance to, I'd really, really recommend it. You'll learn so much and meet super cool people. So the days are pretty long. First panels will be starting at 8 in the morning, and then the last panels will be 5 o'clock. There's free snacks, food that they provide at the convention center, which I thought was pretty cool. And then in the evening, lots of parties going around, studio parties, company parties that you could potentially join if you talk to the right people. Talk to them in their booths. Usually if you sign up on their newsletter, or you'll send you an invite to those company parties. So if you ever go next year and go to the exhibition hall, that's one of the cool things to do. Yeah, because it's just one big networking event as well, right? So what I liked about the event was it was really nice to see old friends and colleagues. It was also really, really inspiring to see and learn from so many people what their studio culture is like, how they brought a certain look, the problems they ran into, how they solved that, the tools that some studios have that are proprietary but awesome if everyone had access to it. And then also how fast the technology has changed. What's really cool about SIGGRAPH is you get this sense of where the future is going. I remember there was a year where 3D printing was so big that all the booths had like different types of 3D printers. Another year, VR was a big one, so there's a whole bunch of booths where you could go try on, put on these goggles. I mean, they still have that. One of my favorite things were the production sessions. So when studios are invited to share their experience of, it's kind of like behind the scenes of recent films. They also share the like some anecdotes of things that happened, or things, funny things that happened while they were working on it. And those are the kind of things you don't get to know unless you get to meet the people who were there. So that was awesome. In general, it was smaller than I remember, but that's a given and that's expected. Things that I didn't like, not much. I will say though, what I think could be better is the schedule, the schedule app, because in previous years, so when you go, you get like a badge like this. You won't miss it. This like neon green from NVIDIA. That's always the lanyard. You get like this little plastic thing with your name on it, and it should say the company you're working with. Mine says NA because I'm actually taking a break right now, but not for long. So if you have me on LinkedIn, I've got news for you. But in previous years, they also give you a pamphlet that fits inside this, and it shows you all the available events that are going on during all the times, and you can, you know, write on it. I'm a little bit old school and I like writing on things, but yeah, you could browse through it and see which ones you want to catch. If a room is too full and you got there too late and you can't join, then at least you have other options that you can see right away. But this time everything was through mobile, and I wouldn't say it was perfect. Maybe I was looking at the wrong place, but there were panels that we went to that was not on the app, and we wouldn't have known it unless we were there and saw the giant posters that they have outside. That part could be better, but otherwise it was a blast. So I can't wait to dive deeper and show you the things that I saw. If you want to see those videos, I'll be posting those in the next few days. So let's see you then. Bye!